It's going to be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 2 flexes. I left out the kickers and the defenses because y'all should know well and like which kicker and defense is, and then we have 3 bench spots. So pretty similar format of our other leagues. So let's waste no time. Let's get this draft going, and let's get it going here. So our first 2 picks. Let's see if it's all chalk. It's Christian McCaffrey. What the heck? Justin Jefferson. All right. Throwing a wrench already, team 2. Some on the clock.
Talent remains supreme, huh?
I guess so. They don't really. I guess the computer either loves Justin Jefferson or hasn't gotten the news yet of what happened to J.J. McCarthy. But you see Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson. So I have a decision to make here between CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill. I'm ultimately going to go with the guy who isn't holding out, and the guy that got paid this offseason is Tyreek Hill. So we see CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, and Breece Hall go off the board. So Wade, you're on the clock at pick number 7. Which way are you going?
Yeah, this puts me in an interesting spot. I mean, I think that the 2 elite running backs are off the board. You could say Bijan Robinson's in that category, but we haven't seen it yet. Who we have seen is Amon-Ra St. Brown just tear it up. He's in an elite offense. I like him right there behind those guys that were taken. I'd be very happy with that pick at 7, 6, 8, somewhere in that range. Yeah,
definitely. Amon-Ra coming off a terrific season. So you're ending off the first round with Bijan, A.J. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. And then to start off this round number 2, you have Garrett Wilson, Saquon Barkley, and Jonathan Taylor. So you have your star wide receiver. You're going to balance out your lineup with a running back and go for receiver here.
Yeah, I'm going to balance it out and go running back. It means I got to reach a little bit according to these average draft positions, but I'm just going with pure talent here and a guy that I think has RB1 overall upside, and that's Travis Etienne. I've seen him going in the 3rd round. He's not going to be there when I pick next. I got to take him here.
So Etienne goes off the board at pick number 7. Then you see a run on running backs here, finish with Kyron Williams, and you have a rookie, Marvin Harrison, and Puka Nacua. And I also am going to balance out my running back, a guy that I think it's been the bell cow back for the Tennessee Titans for the past couple of years. Now he's on the Baltimore Ravens. Give me Derrick Henry for my first running back on the roster. You can really treat him as a hero running back if you want to do that strategy here in the early round. So finishing out round number 2, Drake London, Devontae Adams, and then you have our first tight end with Travis Kelce and Devon Achane going off the board. And since I have Tyreek Hill, I'm going to go with a little strategy here, go try and get my second running back off the board. I know that this is a 3 wide receiver, but you really look at, Isaiah Pacheco and Josh Jacobs. I think there is a fall off from the running back, so I don't really want to lose out on those guys. So give me Isaiah Pacheco, the running back out of Kansas City, for my second running back. So the picks will keep on going. We have another tight end, Sam LaPorta, Josh Allen, Chris Olave. Wade, you're back on the board.
All right. So this sets up pretty well. There's a lot of talented wide receivers there for me to take to complement with Amon-Ra St. Brown. You snagged my guy here that I was targeting in the 3rd round in Pacheco. But I think that's realistic. So I think very much so could happen. So I'm going to go ahead and get one of the better wide receivers out there that's left. And I trust Mike Evans more than Brandon Ayuk just based off the offseason. But I think you could go either way there.
All right, so we keep on going. We see Mike Evans go off the board, Josh Jacobs. And then you see a wide receiver run start with Ayuk, Diggs, Collins, Samuel, and DJ Moore. You're back up. Which direction you going in the 4th round?
Yeah, I think the 4th round is a perfect time to snag another running back. I think, all the big name guys are off the board, but you have some aging veterans. You have some younger upstart players like Rachaad White and James Cook. But I see a guy who I think is ranked a little low here. I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker. I mean, I think he's a bell cow back. He's young. I think this team's going to run the ball a lot without a true threat at quarterback. So I like that pick.
All right, so after Walker, you see 2 quarterbacks go, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and in between that, Rachaad White from the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I see a guy that I have just been shouting from the mountains at that he's going to be returning to his form, and that is going to be Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. I think that he's going to get back to a healthy season. I mean, a lot of hype is Puka Nacua, but do we forget people what he did in 2021? He was the wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. So, I mean, could he do it again? Sure. But I think he's going to return to his form. So we see Pittman, Lamar go off the board to round out round number 4. And to start off round number 5, you have Jalen Waddle and then also James Cook. So back on the clock here, a lot of wide receivers I could go since this is definitely a 3 wide receiver. I think that's exactly what I'm going to do, either between Malik Neighbors or DK Metcalf. We just talked about some concerns of the Giants. I don't know if I want to go with that. I trust DK Metcalf. He's already proven it in this Seattle Seahawks offense. So give me Metcalf. So we have Neighbors, 2 tight ends going off the board with McBride and Pitts. What direction are you heading in round number 5? You have a balanced attack of 2 running backs and also 2 wide receivers.
The receivers look okay, but I see guys that could, potentially be a target in the next round. So I'm going to go ahead and get a guy that, look, he just doesn't seem to age, doesn't have a lot of competition. I think he's a fine flex play at this point, and that's Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Alvin Kamara is the dump-off king. I mean, Derek Carr, did you see last season? That's all he did. That's throw check downs to Kamara. So definitely a great pick. I think that's a really good value pick at round number 5, too. It's the Saints offense that's going to rely heavily on the run game this season. So you have CJ Stroud, Dalton Kincaid, George Kittle running out round number 5. Then you had round number 6, Joe Mixon, Tank Dell. So a lot of Houston Texans offense going off the board, and Devontae Smith. And round number 6, where are you heading in this one? I see a top tight end still on the board. Quarterbacks are flying off. What player are you going with in round number 6?
I think this is a good time to target a tight end, but because I went running back heavy, I got to go get a wide receiver here. And with Mike Evans being a little older, I'm going to go with a younger guy that could complement him and really step up as my wide receiver 2, and that's George Pickens.
Great pick there. So we have George Pickens, Aaron Jones, Zay Flowers, and T. Higgins going off the board there. Looking at my roster, I already have my 2 running backs, all 3 wide receivers, but we do have 2 flexes left. And looking at the wide receivers, not anything's really catching my eye right now. Looking at the running backs too. I mean, you could go. I think I'm going to go with a guy that's really been consistent for the past couple of seasons. That's going to be James Conner. This offense is going to be improving. Kyler Murray's back. Hopefully, he can have a healthy season. So I'm going to go with James Conner there. Mark Andrews. I was thinking about him at the 6'8", but looks like the guy after me got him, Mark Andrews. Then we finish out the round with Keenan Allen, David Montgomery, and Amari Cooper. So quarterbacks are slowly falling off the board, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to wait. I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin. Like I mentioned, this is going to be a Washington Commanders offense that is going to be improved, especially with Jaden Daniels being the starting quarterback. So McLaurin goes off the board. Then after that, you see Kirk, Swift, and Stevenson. So you're up at the 7-7. Who are you going with?
You got tight ends and quarterbacks, I think, in this range are pretty solid. I still see some tight ends I like a lot. So I'm not going to necessarily worry there. I just can't really buy the hype in Anthony Richardson, and I still see a couple quarterbacks I like. But I'm going to go ahead and get – I'm just going to go and get a guy that has quarterback 1 overall upside, and that's Joe Burrow. I just think that just the volume that they're going to have in that offense looks pretty sharp.
All right, so Burrow goes off the board at the 7-7. Then we see Evan Ingram, another tight end, Anthony Richardson, Jaden Reed. Round 8, Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison, and Xavier Worthy. You're back on the clock at the 8-4.
Yeah, and that's tough because, I thought Rice might fall to me, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and jump on a tight end before they all disappear on me. And I'm going to go with a guy that doesn't have a lot of target competition. That's Jake Ferguson.
Good pick there as Ferguson goes off the board. You see Godwin, Mostert, and Harris. I think that this is the time that I get a quarterback. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. Like I mentioned, going to be probably a more pass-heavy offense. Going to be a lot of touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb's going to be his top target. So I think that Dak Prescott is going to have himself another terrific season. Thought about Kyler Murray. I think that Kyler, obviously, look at if you want a dual threat quarterback to get you both points in the rushing department, you could definitely do that. So back on the clock here at 9-3, we saw Chubb, Odunze, White, and Murray go off the board there. Looking at the tight ends, I see a guy that I really also been hyping up in the preseason, and that's been David Njoku. I think that he was a very underrated tight end in the season, and I think that this offense is still going to be consistently good. I mean, he still got fantasy points when Joe Flacco was the quarterback. So Njoku has proved it that he can really get some solid production with any quarterback. So Njoku goes off the board. Then you see Javonte Williams, Calvin Ridley, and then Hollywood Brown going off the board there. So the pick 9-7, who you rocking with?
I'm going to get a guy that's going to get a lot of targets, not necessarily on a good team, but they're going to be down and they're going to just be throwing the ball all season. So I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson, now on the Carolina Panthers. Don't forget about him.
Yep, don't forget about him at all. So we see Pollard, Moss, and Love finish out round number 9 for us, and then start off around number 10 with a wide receiver from Buffalo, Keon Coleman, Devin Singletary, and DeAndre Hopkins. You're back on the clock with 10-4.
I'd like to go to another running back here. Don't see anybody that jumps out at me as a must-have, so I will peruse the other positions. I'm going to go with a rookie pick here that I just think really could jump off the page. Possibly later in the season more so than early, but I think once he gets his footing, Brian Thomas is going to be a household name.
I mean, if I've ever seen a guy hype him up more than anybody, it's definitely been Wade this preseason. Brian Thomas goes off the board. We see another 2 rookies actually back-to-back, Ladd McConkey and Jonathan Brooks. Then we see Austin Eckler. So good picks there by the computer. So I'm either going to go for running back here or wide receiver. I think that's what I'm going to be rocking with. But I'm going to go with Brian Robinson out of the Washington Commanders. I already have Terry McLaurin. So maybe this is too much of the Washington Commanders. But Brian Robinson, I think that really did well for the Washington Commanders offense last season. I know you had Eckler, but it's probably going to be a 50-50 split between the two. So it's really pick and choose. So I go with B-Rob. See Christian Watson, Jalen Warren, Brock Bowers, and then Tajay Spears. And I think I'm going to try and stack up on some wide receivers. It's just a matter of who. I already have DK Metcalf, so I don't really want to go with JSN here. So there's not really many wide receivers the way that I'm looking at it now. You know what? I'm going to go for a flyer pick here. Go with Jameson Williams for the Detroit Lions. Going to be one of the best offenses in the NFC, so you might as well get a slice of that offense there. So we see back-to-back quarterbacks with Purdy and Tagovailoa, JSN. You're back up at the 11-7.
Yep, and I'm going to go get a proven running back. Can't believe we're doing this, but Ezekiel Elliott is number 1 on the depth chart. Got to go get him here.
There you go. Feed Zeke back in fantasy football relevance this season on the Cowboys. You see Caleb Williams, Dallas Goedert, Trey Benson rounding out round number 11. And to start off the final round for us, you see TJ Hawkinson, Jared Goff, Dalton Schultz. Who's going to be your final player in this draft?
I just can't believe he's here in the final round, but Cortland Sutton, tremendous value.
Yeah, that's definitely tremendous value right there. So great pick by you. So there's a ton of options there. A lot of talented running backs here. I think a guy that could really have some flashes this season is A.D. Mitchell of the Indianapolis Colts. I know this is an offense. I think that as long as they have Anthony Richardson healthy, I think that this is an offense that can really produce this season.